some fun training for you, ladies. I started my business. I really had no intent to make it a career. I really wasn't interested in Mary Kay at all. My cousin asked me to listen for lip gloss. She had started her business. She lived in Arizona, and I lived in Indiana, and she said, I know that you have a really good job, and I know that you probably never dream of being a beauty consultant, but would you please just do me a favor and listen for a lip gloss, is what she said. And I said, yeah, you're right, I would never do that. I kind of looked down on it. I have a degree in Spanish and International Economics, so I didn't think that cosmetics were, or it just felt like Mary Kay was what old ladies did. Mm-hmm. I imagined the consultant having like really big hair and bright pink lipstick, and it being something that she did because she didn't have a life and didn't have to work. And so I didn't think that was something I would do. Now, I was kind of surprised that my cousin, who was my age at the time, well, we're both still the same age, but I just was really shocked that she was doing it, because I did think it was an old lady thing. So when I heard, but I did the phone call, and when I heard about, a couple of things struck me. The first thing that struck me was she had asked me what I loved about my job, and I said the paycheck. And she asked me what I hated about my job, and I think I had talked for a good 5 minutes answering that question when I realized I had talked for 5 minutes about how much I did not like my job. And that was a little bit of a wake-up call, like, maybe there's something wrong here. You don't really love your job, but you're doing it for the money. I believe that that's what most people do. And I kind of looked at that as, well, yeah, I don't like it, but I'm going to get up and do it every day because that's who I am. And that's how I think a lot of women are. They'll get up and do it even though they don't love it. And that's where I was. And so when she started talking about herself, number one, it was all over the phone, but I still got this huge sense of she was in love with her job. There was this enthusiasm, and you could tell in her voice, even over the phone, that this chick had a great job and she loved it and she felt on purpose and fulfilled and that kind of thing. So I was a little bit, that grabbed my attention. And then she started talking about the opportunity. And one of the first things that she shared with me was the priorities of putting God first, family second, career third. And I stopped her and said, wait a second, are you allowed to say that? Can you get fired for that? And she said, oh, no, because I came from corporate again, where you would get fired if you talked about God. And she said, no, we won't get fired. We're independent contractors, and so you can do that. And so I was like, okay, perfect. That's really cool. At that point in my life, God wasn't first or second or 10th on the list of priorities, but I knew that probably would, I thought, well, maybe this can help me grow with my priorities and be able to put God first in my life. And so that caught my attention. And then the next thing that caught my attention, I really was in disbelief, was she basically explained that I could work half as many hours. So I was working 40 to 50 hours at Pepsi as a supervisor, that I could work half as many, 20 to 25 hours a week from home, and make more than I was currently making. I was making $40,000 a year as a manager, and she said, as a sales director, you can make $50,000 a year. And I was like, no, wait a second. If that were true, if what you're telling me is true, if you can work 25 hours a week from home and make more than I'm making now, everybody would be doing that business. That can't be true. And she said, no, it's true. It's just not everyone chooses this business. And I didn't have to ask her to explain what that meant, because I understood that. I saw sometimes that people would say they wanted something, but they wouldn't follow through. And so that's what she meant, was that, yeah, it's here for anyone. It's here for the taking, just not people just don't choose it. And that made a big difference. At the end of the phone call, I thought, okay, really, my dad taught me how to, in column A, write everything good about what your decision is, what you can benefit, and in column B, maybe the downside, so that you can, that's how I make decisions sometimes. Okay, what's the good stuff, what's the bad stuff, where am I at here? Let's balance it on a teeter-totter. And there was really nothing bad, because I thought, okay, the worst thing that could happen to me is I get a discount. And if you get a discount on your skincare products from age 20 until age 80, that's 60 years of 50% savings. That, to me, is still a win-win. So I thought, okay, if that's the worst thing, that's still a good thing. So let's try. Let's get this started. And so I got started. I didn't sign like right there that day, but it was a couple days later, because I wanted to talk it over with my husband, make sure that was cool and legit, and then I got started. And the next 18 months were crazy, and I didn't take off like out of the chute, rocket star from the very beginning. That just wasn't my path, because the very beginning of my path was also marked by a lot of hardships in my life. I went through a separation and then a divorce, and then I left Pepsi, I left Indiana, I moved to California, I sold my house. Like, it was a bunch of uprooting and crazy transition that year. And so my business was there, but it wasn't it wasn't in the forefront. And but I still learned. I loved going to weekly meetings. The ones I went to, I was adopted into a unit, and I went to this lady's house, and she was super nice, and the girls were super awesome, and they were always excited and always positive and always really nice and encouraging of me. And so that was a big deal. But it wasn't until after about a year and a half later, I had gotten a better job. Well, a better job came with better pay, but it also came with more responsibility and a lot more hours. And that job was pretty much killing me. I was working 60 hours a week. I was answering my phone on the weekends, and it just was not a job that I got up and was like, let's go to sell Coca-Cola today. It wasn't, I didn't feel like I was making a difference. Then the atmosphere when you would go there, it was just very negative. The women that worked there are a minority, and so it's really weird, because it wasn't like you were discriminated in a bad way, but it was almost like discriminated, not in a good way, but kind of in a good way, because you were a woman. So you were, I don't even know how to put this. It was borderline sexual harassment kind of happening there. It was not a good place to work. And you felt like it just wasn't good. That's all I can say. And so I just decided that I wanted my life to matter. And I wanted to be able to be 65, 70, retiring, and look back on my life and never regret anything. I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to be that person that if my sister called me right now, that I would have the flexibility to drop everything and go to her if I needed to, if she was going through a crisis. But not only the flexibility, a lot of people have the time to go. Like, they don't have a job. So yeah, I could go, but they don't have the money to go. And I could literally pay for that kind of a trip like that because of this business. And that's the kind of legacy that I want to lead. And I want to teach my children that's the kind of person, that's who we are, that we can be, that people are important to us in that way. So that was my reason for quitting. A lot of people thought I was nuts. I left a $65,000 job. I left benefits and a car, but I didn't care. I wasn't leaving my job because I wanted to make more money. I actually was leaving my job just to have a better life. And 9 years ago this summer is my last day at Pepsi, or actually Coke. I'm sorry, I get the two confused because they're both pretty much the same thing. But I left Coca-Cola, and a lot of people thought I was nuts, and that really hurt my feelings. You know, you're going to have those people that tell you you're crazy, tell you that that's not going to work. It didn't work for so-and-so. And it did hurt my feelings for a minute, and then I just got mad. And then I just pretty much said, oh, really? I'll show you. And I did. Like, that was kind of my motivation. I'm glad that they said that, because then I went to work and proved them wrong. And it was the most exhilarating year in my career. It was so fun. Left my job, and about 2 weeks later I found myself at seminar. So I quit my job July 22nd. Never been to a seminar. Seminar is this big, huge, fun event that happens in Dallas every year. And I was not planning on going because, of course, I had a job, and so I couldn't take time off. It was like a Wednesday through a Saturday with that year. That's when our seminar was. So I couldn't take the time off work. I didn't have enough vacation days, and because I just started there, and so I didn't make any arrangements. And when you go to a seminar, it's not just like a little bit of money. It's about $800 to $1,000 when it's all said and done, between your airline ticket, your registration fee, and your hotel, and your meals, and everything you want to do while you're there. And I didn't have the money set aside. I just quit my job, and so I told my director, my adopted director, I said, I just quit my job. And she's like, oh my gosh, that means you can go to seminar. And I said, I can't afford to go to seminar. I just quit my job. And I'll never forget what she said, and she was so honest with me. She said, Kimberly, you just quit your job to make this business work. You can't afford not to go to seminar. You need to go. And that's all she had to say. And so I don't know how I paid for it now. I think I put it on a card. I did something, but I went because I saw it as an investment in me. And it was well worth it because I came home on August the 9th as a beauty consultant, which is entry-level position in the company. And within 3 weeks, we had 8 team members. We had $8,000 in production, which is back then like almost half of your car right there. And was able to go into DIQ because you only needed 8 to go and submit DIQ. So I submitted DIQ September 1st. And it wasn't until the 5th of the month, my director called me and she said, no one's ever done directorship in 1 month before. If you do it, then our national, Tony McElroy, is going to fly out and do your debut personally. And I was like, shut up. Like, she's a celebrity and a national celebrity. So I said, you've got to be kidding me. Of course I'm going to do that. And so we just ran the race. And I knew it was just a numbers game. Because I knew you just had to share the opportunity with enough. It's like taking, if you've ever heard that analogy where if you just take enough spaghetti and throw it at the wall, some of it's going to stick. And it's the same thing. You heard that? Like, you just throw enough spaghetti and some of it's going to stick to the wall. And so I knew that it was just a matter of the numbers. And so for Mel specifically, I wanted to give you my numbers. In July, which was the month I didn't have any team members and quit my job. So I was working in a corporate job up until July 22nd. So I had my full-time gig. But that month I had 60 faces. And the reason I had 60 was mainly because in one day I had a huge event at my church where I think I met 30 to 40 women. So that was all in one day. That was a huge godsend. God knew what was going to happen next. So of course I had those faces done. And then in July, actually that was July. In August I went to seminar and I came back. And then I got busy. I had 30 faces, 30 like appointments or parties, total 30 faces, and we did 32 sharing appointments. So that's 1 out of 4 because I had 8 team members, 1 out of 4. And most of those were over the phone because my director lived in Arizona and I lived in California. So we did all of our team building one-on-one phone calls over the phone, 3 ways. All that whole month, 32 of them. We were on the phone a lot. And then in September, to finish it off, I had 24 faces, but held 85 sharing appointments. And those weren't the video surveys, so I don't really know how it would work with video surveys because I think the average is less. But it was 21 more team members we added, so it's about 1 out of 4 was still, deciding to start. But those were phone calls, one-on-one. And then some of them were events in person. They came to things with me at my adopted director's house or also did things with me in person. I think about the 15th of September through the end of the month, my director said, you need to do these on your own now. So she left me high and dry. I was like, what? When? The 15th. So I was in DIQ. And she saw that I knew what I was doing. So she's like, you need to do these. So she let me have the reins, which was cool. So that's how I did it. So I wanted to share with you, though, a few things that I know you gals are new, but there was just a couple things that I really feel like were on my heart to share tonight. And one of them is just maybe these would be my tips. Okay, so the first one is you have to be operating from a place of faith. So a faith-based mentality versus a fear-based mentality. Okay, so that's going to, fears are going to prevent you from living on purpose, and they're going to prevent you from growing into your potential. Fear won't magically go away if you just try to ignore it. It's not going to happen, And I don't know if you guys are moms, but if you haven't been there yet, this may happen to you. Just trying to convince your 6-year-old, just stop thinking about that. She's trying to go to sleep at night and she's saying, oh, I'm scared of spiders or whatever she's scared of. Just stop thinking of it. That's not going to make it go away. It's not. Okay? It's not going to go. So I love this quote. This is Dale Carnegie. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer your fears, don't sit home and think about them. Go out and get busy. I love that because if you sit there and overthink starting this business, you will think yourself out of it quickly. Because what you're doing is you're not taking any action, you're sitting there. You're just sitting there. And that's going to breed doubt and fear. And you don't want that. You want to be, because there are so many possibilities. With this company, you could have anything. You guys are young. You're probably in your 20s, not even 20. I don't know how old you are, but you're young. You have such a career in front of you that you can do anything with this business. Okay. The next one is fear won't magically go away. So play it out. This was a new concept to me. This fear stuff is coming from a book called Crash the Chatterbox. And have you heard it or read it? Okay, Crash the Chatterbox is Stephen Furtick is the author, and he just talks a lot about this. But this was one of my favorite things he said. Play it out. So, okay, you're afraid of something, play it out. Okay, so what are you afraid of? And you can fill in the blank in your head. If somebody wants to tell me what they're afraid of, I'll take it. But what is your one fear that really creeps up a lot when it comes to your business? Is there any one that wants to share a fear?
I will.
Okay, go ahead.
I fear the responsibility.
The responsibility?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you fear, what about the responsibility? That's too much, or?
Yeah, like I don't know that I'll be enough.
As a director.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what if you're not enough? What if, when you become a sales director, you're not enough? Then what?
Then it'll fall apart.
Then it'll fall apart.
Uh-huh.
Then it will be devastating.
Uh-huh.
Then it will be disappointing.
Yep.
Then it will be a waste of time.
Yep.
Maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you go to God will. Who's God? In your life, who is God? And what has he always done? And to me, I'm like, whoa, that blows my socks off. Because let's say that does happen, Mel. God will what then? God has always promised that he will use everything to bless you. So even if that happened, okay, and God promises to use it to grow your character and to make you more like him and to bless you, if you knew you walked through that and even all that stuff happened and you got to the other side and you realize that God is going to bless you because of it and through it, I know that may sound really crazy, but to me it took the weight off of it. Like one of my biggest fears has and I'm going to be very, very transparent. One of my biggest fears has been with my husband. Like, what if he's not a good dad to my kids? I don't know if you've ever been there, but that's one of the things I've always feared. What if he's not a good dad? Well, then what? Well, then that's going to be hard for me to watch. It's going to be hard for them to walk through. But what does God always do with the hard things we go through? They're the times that we grow the most. They're the times that we actually learn what faith is all about. Mm-hmm. And those are the opportunities that we learn something about ourselves and about him, mainly. So it's okay if you go through that. It's okay if that's the way it ends up. Because you know what? God is bigger than that. And God is going to use that to grow your faith. And if you came out the other side a better person, wouldn't you be thankful? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think what it does is it lets you not have that weight of it anymore. Like, who cares about that? Because if it happens, I know that on the other side of it, God's promised to make me better. And does that make sense? That was huge for me. I don't know if that's huge for you, but if you really walk it out and play out everything you're thinking, well, what if I can't get enough leads? Well, that's going to be hard. Okay, I get that. But a lot of that's just coaching. Like, you've got to learn the skills it's going to take to get enough leads. But I just really love that. And if you are struggling a lot with fears in your life, I think that book would be really huge. Because I'm trying to give you a huge book in 2 minutes. So, but I love that. Okay, the other one is choose to grow daily. Daily. I said daily. Just so you know, daily. To reach your potential, you must grow. To grow, you must be highly intentional about it. As a sales director, especially for Brittany, but I know this is true of Beth to you guys too, it's my desire to help you develop the right attitude. It's going to take a good attitude. Learn more about your own personal strengths. Tap into your passion and become more in touch with your purpose so that you can develop your skills, so that you can be all you can be. This is so key. You cannot change your life until you change something you do every day. Every day. Not just once a week, not when it's convenient, not when you feel like it, not when your kid's cooperating. Every day. Every day. When you choose to be all in, that means completely all in, that you don't have a backup plan, that you choose to dedicate your entire self to this opportunity, I guarantee you're going to be on your way to reaching your potential. If you keep learning and growing every day over the course of many years, you will be astounded by how far it's taken you. I think that's really key. One of the ways that I'm most thankful for in my business is the fact that she can't pick her up because she's sick, but you are welcome to pick her up if you want to. Go ahead. I'm like, you guys can hold her and bounce her. And no, you're fine. I know she's She's
She's
fussy. She's not buckled. Okay, so what was I going to say? So one of the things that I really enjoy about this business, but also this company, is that it's an environment of growth. So you right now, Cindy, right now where you are not the person that you need to be where you want to be. Does that make sense? So let's say you want to be driving a Mary Kay car. In the process of that, you're going to grow. And that growth is what's going to propel you into becoming that person. So the environment of growth, Mary Kay understands that. There's a lot of jobs where you come in, there's a little bit of growth in the beginning because you learn about your skill, but then that's it. You're done. And it becomes stagnant and you're not pushed to grow anymore. So the growth is really important because it pushes you outside your comfort zone. And there's not a lot of positions or careers where you're pushed to keep growing all the time as soon as you get outside. So I think too, you're brand new. You guys are going to grow a lot in the next couple of weeks and months. But if there are consultants that are listening to this that have not had their business like 2 weeks, maybe they've had their business 2 years or 10 years, and they're not moving where they want to be, it's probably because they're not growing either. They're not growing. And growth is caused when you move beyond where you are now. And most of the time that means you're going to be out of your comfort zone, which is good. So I want to encourage you both to spend time with superstars. So what do I mean by that? You find someone who is where you want to be. And I have a pacifier in my bag. It's in the Ziploc baggie underneath yeah, I'll get it really quick. So find someone who is where you want to be and then spend time with them. So I'm sure that Beth would love to have you as her sidekick. I think that happens a lot of times. You get to spend time with them and learn from them. And when you get to do that, it's a privilege. So see it as a privilege when you get to follow someone and shadow them. It is a huge privilege. They are where you want to be for a reason, and so you must do whatever you can to learn from them. So even if that means driving an hour and putting on a pair of heels and a suit and standing with her in the rain, like do what you need to do to learn from her and be encouraged, because she does have the right attitude and she does have the right skills and she does have the right methods, and so you just want to put yourself in her space and do whatever you can to learn from her, and which is awesome. The other one is be willing to pay the price to live your dreams. I think that a lot of women are not willing. So this is one of the books that I read this summer that I'm always reading. I love books. It's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and it might sound a little like dry, but trust me, it was really, really good. So, are you willing to pay the price of your dreams? So I definitely want to read to you a little bit about that because I think it's awesome and fabulous. And it's on page 30. Okay, so is this the right one? Yes. No, sorry. My bad, you guys. Okay, here we go. So, are you willing to pay the price to do what you want? Author and educator James Thom said, probably the most honest self-made man ever was the one we heard say, I got to the top the hard way, fighting my own laziness and ignorance every step of the way. That sure has a lot of truth in it, doesn't it? When it comes to barriers to success, we are usually our own worst enemies. Several years ago, I came across a piece called Dream Big. It's full of encouraging words, but also captures what it takes to follow your dreams. It says, if there were ever a time to dare, to make a difference, to embark on something worth doing, it is now. Not for any grand cause necessarily, but for something that tugs at your heart, something that's your aspiration, and something that's your dream. You owe it to yourself to make your days here count. Have fun, dig deep, stretch, dream big. Know, though, that things worth doing seldom come easy. There will be good days and there will be bad days. There will be times when you want to turn around, pack it up, and call it quits. Those times tell you that you are pushing yourself, that you are not afraid to learn by trying. Taking the steps necessary to live your dreams and do what you want to do will cost you. You will have to work hard. You will have to make sacrifices, and you will have to keep learning and growing and changing. Are you willing to pay that price? I sincerely hope that you are, but know this, most people are not. And that's why you do hear people say, oh, I tried that and that didn't work. Because they weren't willing to pay the price. And there will be a lot of those people along your path. I can guarantee you that. You'll see them come in and come out, come in, come out. Because they're not willing to pay the price. It gets too hard and it's too difficult, and so they just bail. And I don't know if those people will ever not bail, but I can tell you if you don't bail, then you will eventually get there. Like, that's really, there's no magical difference between me and Beth, and Beth's mom who's a national, and you. The only difference is we don't bail. We don't quit. And we have whatever it is, and it could be different. Like, I think the thing that keeps me coming back is, what's my other option here?
Yeah.
My other option is not fun. I do not want to be in corporate ever again. And I do not want to miss out on anything with my kids that I don't, have to. And so I'm like, no. I will go out there and talk to that person. That's me. The next one is, I really love this. See, a lot of times that the reason that women don't succeed is because they don't really see themselves as awesome. And it sounds so simple, but you are awesome and amazing and lovely and fantastic. And God created you with great purposes and great plans. And if you don't believe that, you won't, like Zig Ziglar, I have to read this to you because I really like it. He said it's something about, it's really hard for you to act inconsistently with the way that you think about yourself. It's impossible to consistently behave in a manner inconsistent with how we see ourselves. We can do very few things in a positive way if we feel negatively about ourselves, which is huge. So one of the exercises that I think is really cool, it's called Practice the One-Word Strategy. And what you do, and I'm going to challenge you to do this because I feel like I did this and it was huge. You actually are challenged to sit down and make a list of 100 of your qualities, your best personal qualities. You're laughing because I know. It's like, what? 100? That's crazy. And so trust me when I say it's like, what do I write down? And so I do. I have a list. I was going to bring it tonight, but I forgot, and I apologize. But I can email it to you if you want to see the list. But 100 of them. And then you are to narrow it down to the one word that best describes who you are. In one word, who you are. And if you could pick one word, what would it be? And I love that because it really, you have to pick 100 good things. And so it's like, oh my goodness. And it really helps you see that you are, and it also helps you. Because if you haven't, then put that list somewhere you can see it. Highlight the one word, but then have the rest there. Maybe by your office or by your computer or on your fridge, wherever you think you'd see it the most. Because you start believing it. So a couple of my words were positive, enthusiastic, trustworthy, hardworking. It's so disciplined, healthy, that kind of thing. And so you start to think, oh, well, I'm healthy, so I need to make this choice today instead of this choice. Oh, well, I'm disciplined, so I'm not going to watch 3 hours of my favorite TV show. Oh, and so you start to really believe that about yourself, and it changes the way you see yourself, but changes your decisions too. And so I really love that one-word strategy. The next little part I'm going to share with you is called I kind of entitled it Be the And Then Some person. Mary Kay used to talk about that. That don't just do what's expected, do the and then some. And I love that. So we live in a culture that awards trophies to people for simply showing up, regardless of their contribution. Because of that, many people think they are doing well if they just do what's expected of them. I don't believe that helps people reach their potential or expand their capacity. To do that, a person has to do more. Former General Electric CEO Jack Welch calls this getting out of the pile. To distinguish yourself, to get noticed and advanced in your career, you need to do and be more. You have to rise above average. You can do this by asking more of yourself than you ask of others, expecting more from yourself than you expect from others, believing more in yourself than others believe, doing more than others think you should have to do, giving more than others think you should do, and helping more than others think you should help. And I really love that. And it also trains you to develop a habit of excellence. And that's where I tell people, when I'm telling women about us and our culture, I'm saying, girl, you want to be a part of this because these are women of excellence. And guess what? They will make you more excellent. Iron sharpens iron. They will make you more excellent. So that I'm talking about you guys. So that means you got to bring your excellence because that's what we're all about. That's what we're known for. And then my last little thing is to put people first. I think that that's really key when it's just people. Once people, let's see, the measure of success. I love this part. The measure of success is not the number of people who serve you, but it's the number of people you serve. When people are number one in your life, adding value to them becomes natural. You do it as a matter of lifestyle. You add value to people because you value people and you believe that people have value. And I think, honestly, if that's the only thing you did, I mean, think about what was Mary Kay famous for? What was the sign? Make me feel important. So if she was not valuing people, she wouldn't have thought about that, you know? She wanted women to feel important. She wanted everyone she met to feel important and loved and valued. And if you live life with the intention of making a difference in other people's lives, your life will be full, always, and not empty. What's the mission statement of Mary Kay? Enriching lives. That is like the most amazing thing ever, that we get to work for companies. That's the only thing we have to accomplish in the day, is making sure that we love people. And it doesn't say enrich your customers' lives. Enriching lives. Do you think that my children's lives are enriched because I now know how to put God first, family second, career third? Absolutely. Who else's lives are enriched? Mine, my husband's, my clients, and my team members who get to follow that example, which is super huge. I never knew how to put God first until it was this opportunity helped me figure that out. It's phenomenal. Awesome. So I have some questions for you. And then I don't know what time it is, so I can be done, or I can ask, you guys can ask questions if you want. I probably will share one more thing. Let me share one more thing before I ask you questions. I just have to tell you that I absolutely love what I get to do, though. I love my career. I think that this career is the most phenomenal. This company is the most phenomenal company out there. This company is amazing. When you call, they're super awesome and kind. They go above and beyond. There is not a more awesome place to work, period. It is by far the most phenomenal place ever. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And I think that the thing that I love most is Mary Kay Ash and who she was, and that her legacy is still intact and she still has such an impact. I love it. I love the fact that we have such ethics. Our company is known for our ethics and our excellence, and that's what I love about it. And however, my personal mission, the reason I believe God could use me as a national sales director, is because there are women who have totally taken our excellence and put it under the rug. There are women who are Mary Kay directors and beauty consultants that are not excellent, and they're not teaching women how to put God first and family second. And the reason I know this is because I have many appointments where I hear a story like, oh, my consultant, fill in the blank, or this person, fill in the blank. They've had bad experiences. And it's my personal mission to make sure that we have an area of excellence, that we bring excellence when we speak with people, when we represent this company, that we have excellence and we are people of integrity. And that's why I feel called to be a national sales director, is because I know that I would be responsible in a huge way for a lot of women and what they're doing in their business. And I think that this company needs women who will do anything, who will do the right thing, not the easy thing. And that's the kind of women that we need. And I hope that that's the kind of women that you want to be. I'm not saying that you've always has been, because I have not always been that way. I've done the easy thing and regretted it. And now I'm choosing to always do the hard thing, even the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. So here are some of my questions for you. Number one is, if you knew, so asking yourself in the first person, if I knew, so say that to yourself, in your head, if I knew I could not fail, what would I attempt? If I knew I could not fail, what would I attempt? The second one is, if I had no limitations, what would I like to do with my life? And the last one is, if finances were not an issue, what would I be doing with my life today? If money were not an issue, what would you be doing with your life today? And I think those are really critical questions. And sometimes we're just so busy we don't sit down and think about those things. And I think taking time out, especially I like to do it. I was thinking that yesterday. It was the first day of the month, so I really took some time to just think about those things. You know, am I really doing everything I want to be doing? Do I want to change some things? Do I want to add some things or take some things away? And just really reflecting on what's going on right now. I think that's really important. In fact, I got so distracted that I forgot my own conference call yesterday. For the first time in, like, I don't know, ever. Forgot the call, Brittany. I was like, I had text messages on my phone when I got back to it. I was like, oh my goodness. Because I was so just mentally away, like reflecting that I wasn't right then in the moment. So I totally forgot. And the last thing I want to end with is just how grateful I am. I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful that someone shared this opportunity with me almost 11 years ago. It's just a blessing. It's such a huge blessing. So, do you guys have any questions? Other than that, I'm done.
Yay!
Yay! Do you have questions, though? You guys?
You
I know you're brand
summed
new.
up everything, yeah.
Anything didn't make sense?